Hey everybody, today we are going to be talking about anchoring your homeschool day in order to create a more consistent routine and flow to your homeschool day. If you find that you're struggling with consistency, your homeschool schedule seems kind of chaotic, you can't seem to stay on track, you can't seem to get everything done, this is going to be a great video for you because we're going to talk about how putting those anchors in place will help you to keep moving forward with your homeschool day, and it'll also help you to create a routine and some consistency in your day. All right, everybody, we are talking about anchors, and these anchors are so important to your homeschool day. The reason for that is that it gives you starting and stopping points and points in between that you know are always going to be there. You don't have to think about them. They simply happen at a certain time and place, and they bring a cohesiveness to your homeschool day. And that's what you want. You want your homeschool day to feel cohesive and to have this routine and flow to it that you don't have to think a whole lot about, because otherwise you're going to be running willy-nilly with your homeschool day and you won't be able to get anything done because it doesn't have a consistency to it. Anchors need to be things that you do together as a family. That's what makes it an anchor. It's everybody together in the same place doing the same thing. And keep that in mind as we go through these different ideas for anchors, because not everybody has the same anchors. I'm not going to be able to say everybody needs to do this particular anchor. You need to choose what anchor works for your family, and I'll give you some examples to help you get started. First of all, if you're a family who eats breakfast together, that's a great anchor. It's not an anchor that our family uses. Our family has always kind of done breakfast on your own. My husband isn't a big breakfast eater, so we've never had this big family meal as breakfast. Typically, I'm getting breakfast for the little ones, and then the older kids straggle in. I have a daughter who is going to college nearby, and so she comes in early and gets hers and leaves. So breakfast isn't a good anchor for us, but if you are a family who likes to eat breakfast around the table together, that's a fantastic anchor to start your day. And yes, even your homeschool day. The reason for this is that there are things that happen between the two anchors from breakfast until whatever your next anchor is. So those specific things help you to keep moving in the right direction. Now for us, even outside of our homeschool day, we have these set things that happen in a certain order or certain flow before breakfast or after breakfast and on down the road. It's what keeps my day going. But since we're just talking about homeschooling, let's start there at the breakfast point. Let's say that before you can start your homeschool day, you need to have the table cleared, or you need to have the kids make sure that they have done a certain number of chores. Those are the things that are going to go in your after breakfast bracket before the next anchor. For us, the next anchor would be morning time, and actually that's our first anchor is morning time. So before morning time is all of the chores, the things that I need them to do, like get dressed, brush your teeth, make your bed, clean up the bathroom, get your laundry where it needs to be, and of course breakfast is in there as well. That's my before stuff. But if you're doing breakfast and then your next anchor is morning time or Bible time or something like that, try to think of what things you need to go in between those two anchors and make sure that you have it listed out. It really should only be 2 or 3 things. You shouldn't have a huge list between anchors because it needs to have some flexibility. So if you start with breakfast and then you say, hey, you need to do your pet chores, and then you need to start in on your independent Bible time, and then we'll meet together for Bible time at such and such. And you don't even have to pick a certain time, but I do recommend you pick a certain place for your anchors. So breakfast is obviously going to be around the dining room table. But your next one, maybe morning time, is going to be in the living room. For us, morning time is typically around the dining room table, and so that's our first anchor. I call everyone to morning time, and they all know exactly where to go. Just like if you call everyone to breakfast, they know exactly where to go. So your anchors should have set places, and everybody should be involved. So morning time as an anchor can be something as simple as reading the Bible. together and then sending everybody off. It may be Bible and a read aloud. It may be history. It may be a full-blown morning time with fine arts and art projects and things like that. It just depends on where you are in your season of life. Not everybody can do a big morning time. Our morning time lasts about an hour, but for some people that's entirely too much. For us, it's perfect right now. But a few years ago, the only thing I could do was read from a story Bible and send people off to their independent work. That was all I was capable of doing. So make sure that you're not trying to put too much into those anchors as well. So not too much in between the anchors and not too much in the anchor itself. Your next anchor is probably lunch. And so you need to think of what you want to happen, what subjects you need to cover between morning time and lunch. Now remember, you only want 2 or 3 things in there. You're not trying to cram your entire homeschool day into those couple of hours there. We need to be very cognizant of how much we're trying to cram into our homeschool day. Most of us are trying to put way too much in there, and we need to recognize you just cannot possibly get that much done. So 2 to 3 things in between the morning time and the lunch time. And you don't have lunch until those 2 to 3 things are complete, unless you decide, you know what, this is taking too long and we need to skip this so that we can go ahead and have lunch. Now, after lunch, you have the other remaining subjects that you want to finish there. You may need another sort of break and another anchor in there, like a break that you take outside, or you go downstairs and you play, or you have some sort of tidy up time. Something like that may need to happen as another anchor within your day. In fact, if you start school really early, you may need a break type of anchor in your morning as well. So consider how your homeschool operates and how many anchors you're going to need to keep things moving in the right direction. So let's say you do some afternoon schooling. What does that look like? Is that when you fit your history and your science in? Is that when you do fun projects? And then what's going to be the next anchor? Does it need to be some playtime outside? Does it need to be a break of some sort where you clean up the house? Are you going to continue school past that anchor? Are you going to continue school all the way until the next anchor, say it's a movie time, or it's another tidy up time, or maybe it's even dinner time? I wouldn't recommend that though. I do feel like some of us drag the homeschool day on way too long, and our kids get weary and we get weary, and you can really only keep up a pace from breakfast to dinner where it's all homeschool. You can only do that for a couple of weeks and then you're pretty burned out. So please, please try not to do that, but do make sure that there's an anchor to end your day. Currently, I'm in a season where lunch is the end of my anchor. We only homeschool in the morning. However, we are probably going to be going back to putting our history in the afternoon hours. And then the next anchor is going to be a tidy up time. And that's where that will signal the end of our homeschool day. We'll tidy up everything and we'll be ready for dinner and the evening hours together. So that's the anchors within our day. And like I said before, I have anchors all throughout my day, and this may help you with your homemaking as well. If you put anchors all the way throughout your day, where we do these things before this and these things in between here, and you just keep going, it's what drives you throughout your day and keeps you consistent and on track. If you'd like to see an example of what this looks like in the homemaking world, I do have a free daily checklist that has 3 things in the morning, 3 things in the afternoon, and 3 things in the evening that gives you those anchor points and shows you what this might look like to get things done throughout the day in a very simple manner that uses those anchors to drive you forward and doesn't put too much in your day. So be aware of that. Don't put too much in your homeschool day. Use the anchors to bring everybody together and start the day. Bring everybody together to keep moving throughout your day, and bring everybody together to end your day. Everybody needs an end to their homeschool day, including you, Mom. So use those anchors to your advantage, and we will see you next time.